Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to episode 389 of Picks and Ponies right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining us tonight as we are covering the first of three big days and big cards at the fairgrounds in New Orleans. They've got their road to the Kentucky Derby and they are kicking it off on the road to the Oaks for that matter as well. They're going to kick it off this Saturday with the Lecomte and the Silver Bullet Day, along with a lot of other great stakes on their big stakes card. And we're going to be covering the last four races at the fairgrounds this evening. The undercard stakes were covered by our wonderful friends at Pacific Horse Players this past Tuesday with Noah and Ryan. So if you want to check out some of the earlier stake races at the fairgrounds this Saturday, watch Pacific Horse Players, their most recent show this past Tuesday. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right hand side of the screen, the notification bell on the top right on YouTube, and smash that like button. And if you don't know where it is, it's simply that's thumbs up button. It's the thumbs up button below the video player. Please make sure you smash that. That will send like-minded horse players like yourself to the HHH Racing Podcast. And we'd also appreciate any comments below the video player on YouTube. Once this show is up, which is usually about 15 minutes after the show is over, or sometime this evening, we'd love to hear your comments below the video player. But what we'd really like is comments in the live chat. If you are watching right now on our various X handles, we appreciate that. But you might want to jump over to the HHH Racing Podcast YouTube channel where you can jump in the live chat. You can go to our website as well, hhhracingpodcast.com. You see on the screen. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor as well. I'm going to hold off on tip sheet information until we have some more people watching because I want to, very proud of the tip sheet right now. I want to make sure we have plenty of people watching and listening. Before I get to my co-host real quick, let's see who we have here. We got Terry Frank from St. Louis. What's up, Terry? How are you? He was already in the chat. Ralph Conti is here for the Italian Stallions. Good evening, all. Let's make some money Saturday and Sunday. That would be fantastic. We got Dean is here. Dean Millward. Good evening, all. What's up, Dean? How are you? Tom Espinoza from the West Coast. Good afternoon for him. Afternoon, everybody. Ready for some winners. Jackson's here. Jackson's got this hat also. Yeah, I don't think I've worn this hat yet on air. Going with a little white with purple works well with my outfit. I try to match and be as fashionable as possible. Jackson, thanks for joining the show. Greatly appreciate that. And, of course, we have Katie is here. Oh, Brad Anderson's here. Evening HHH crew. Time to get ready for the Saturday action. What's up? Paul says hello to Mr. Anderson. Nathan Woodward is here. We got all the wonderful people here. You know who else is here? My wonderful co-hosts. Let's bring them on right now. From Maryland, not too far from the inauguration site happening this Monday for Martin Luther King Day. Let's bring him on. Mr. Pete Visco, and from the Saratoga Special and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mr. Paul Halloran. Gentlemen, good evening.
Hello, Paul. How are you, sir? What's happening? Me too.
Guys, I've something came to mind to me last night, and that is a very simple statement. I discovered something. I enjoy winning. It's fun. We hit the Turfway Pick 5 for the group, and Pete finally joined us. Thanks, Pete. Pete joined us in cash for the group, and you know, guys, you got to celebrate the wins because this game is not freaking easy, and I seem to string together my pick fives. I don't know about you guys, but like I'll have, like right now I'm on a bit of a heater, as people know, with the picks and the tip sheet and the pick fives. And I go sometimes the month without hitting. I mean, I guess when you're a serial horizontal player, Pete, Pete and Paul, that's what happens, right? It just seems to come in bunches. But I like the winning bunches.
The winning bunches are nice. Yeah. Of course, though, when I joined, we hit for what, like, a couple thousand. When I'm not in, you hit for 29. But I won't take that personally. So.
Well, the one was ranging up there in the last race at Turf. I thought I was going to get there.
There was a couple sneakies. There was a couple sneakies. Although we were sweating that 5-horse in the first leg, it was one of those funny ones where we had every horse covered except one in the first leg, and if anybody was watching, the 5 just jumped on the lead and even opened up about a 2-length lead in the stretch for about a second. And I was like, oh my God, because I had made a joke that the 5 was a lock because it was the only horse, but luckily they finally ran him down.
Yeah, you could have blamed me on that one. I'm just not going to add a horse for 60
No,
bucks.
no, it's the right move.
But you saw my
funny.
emergency. Yeah. You did see my emergency insanity win bet just in case, though, right?
It would have been nicer if he was about 50 lengths back as opposed to being 2 lengths up on the lead the whole race.
For sure. Guys, we're going to talk about the Fairgrounds late pick 4 this evening. It's a great card. The weather looks like it's not going to be quite as bad, of course, as they thought. The rain is sort of taken out of the forecast. Although, as you guys know, since you're on the East Coast and I'm in the Midwest, it is about to get very chilly. Starting about Saturday, Sunday, I guess you guys into Monday. I don't know, not for you guys. It's going to get really cold here. I heard the inauguration's going to be
January. Cold. It's cold. January it's just cold here. Yeah, we got some snow falling right now.
January and February is just awful, Paul. It's just awful.
Totally sucks.
All right. Well, anyway,
Paul, when we create the Early Bird podcast, we just need to do it every week in Florida or something. We need some sunny weather behind us.
Yeah, no, January sucks.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Florida, let's hope they figure out some things in Florida because I don't want Gulfstream going anywhere. So let's hope they figure some stuff out. We're not going to be getting into that situation right now. But we all hope that they're going to work things out at Gulfstream, so they're going to be there for decades instead of years. But we'll see how that
Mike
goes.
Mike Rapoli, friend of the pod, he said he's going to buy it. So we'll just hope for that to happen. He made a comment. He's like, I like racetracks and real estate or something, and then put a smiley face on there. I think he's got a couple bucks. He could probably swing it.
All right. That would be nice. Good luck from First Racing selling it to him. But anyway. All right, guys, let's get into the pick 4. I'm sure Paul will have a rant later. And then, of course, later tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, per our new usual, 9:30 Eastern, Santa Anita's back. Actually, they raced today. We are going to be covering on Great Race Plays the late pick 4 on Sunday at Santa Anita, which actually has 2 stake races in the sequence, one of which we've already covered, incidentally, one we have not. So check us out also at 9:30 Eastern after we sign off here for Great Race Plays and the Santa Anita pick 4. All right, let's jump in, guys, to Fairgrounds. Now I sent you guys some information. You got it. Thanks to shout out to Marcus Hirsch, who's been on top of things at the Fairgrounds with some possible updated scratches and changes that are going to occur already for Saturday that we will inform everyone on, because look, not everyone's on X and not everyone's in the loop, and so we want to fill our wonderful viewers and listeners in as to what we know as of now. Of course, we're filming here live on Thursday night. All right, let's get into the late pick 4. Late pick 4 again this Saturday at the Fairgrounds. They've had quite a bit of rain over the last few weeks. The weather's not been great there. I see clear tomorrow and cloudy, but no rain as of now for Saturday. My guess, guys, and this is purely speculation on my part, that they will be on the turf, but it will be more good to soft. But I would expect the stake races to be on the turf. I don't know if you guys have a feeling of that or not. That's my gut feel right now.
Hopefully, you would assume so, right, Paul? What do you think?
Hey, Howard, are we aware there's a race 12?
Yes.
So, but there is a pick 4 on 8 through 11.
No, I put the wrong numbers in our text thread. I apologize, Paul. I meant to say 9 through 12, not 8 through 11. That's my fault.
Okay, because 8 through okay, all right.
9 through 12 is a pick 4. Confused. 9 through 12 is a pick 4 as well. Ends in the Lecomte. The 12th is the Lecomte.
Yes.
All right, so it's 9.
I feel like PTF from In the Money, where you often talks about production meeting in the middle of the show.
That's all right.
That's okay, though. No problem. Right. Yeah. It can be a bit confounding. The Pacific Horse Player boys covered race 6 and 8, I believe, which were to the turf stakes before the other stakes that we are covering. Are we good, Paul? We're good? Okay.
Oh, I did them all because I'm just
Wonderful.
I want extra credit.
All right, terrific. I like giving. Well, actually,
A
I can't
plus,
give.
A
I
plus
can't
for
give
Paul.
extra credit,
A
but
plus.
that's a whole other story. All right, let's get into it, guys. Let me take the banners off the screen here, and let's jump right in. Here we go. The late pick 4 starts in race 9. It's race 9, 10, 11, and 12 at the fairgrounds, and it starts with a Kentucky Oaks race with points to the Kentucky Oaks. It is the Silver Bullet Day Stakes. They're going. It's $150,000 purse, mile and 70 for the restricted 3-year-old fillies. Now we got to talk about. You see the field of 8, but that's going to change. So let me take out my trusty information from Marcus Hirsch. Everyone, give me 1 second, and we'll put everyone on screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, as of per Marcus Hirsch earlier today, who covers racing for the DRF, he does a great job. The number 5 California Sunset, who actually was a spot play for me last time she ran, and she was taken way too far back and made a late run. I actually would have liked her a bit in this spot. The number 5 is out. California Sunset will be out on this Saturday. In terms of the McPeak runners, the 2, 6, and 7, between the 2 and the 6, one of those apparently is going to be scratched. We don't know which one. So either the 2 or the 6 apparently is going to be scratched. I do not have information on the 7, guys. So I'm assuming, based on what we know now, at least, She's a Swede is going to be running. But apparently either the 2 or the 6, the other 2 McPeaks, one of those is going to be scratched. Drexel Hill, the 4, is a possibility. She's not guaranteed to run. Of the 2 Beckman horses, the number 3, Simply Joking, is absolutely running. And Bless the Broken, the 8, is running. So the 5 is out. We don't know about the 4. And apparently, guys, either the 2 or the 6 will scratch. Oof, okay. A lot of information. Of course, if you watch this as a replay, you might already know ahead of time, guys. So let me go ahead and bring up the banners for what we have as of right now for race 9. I'm going 3-6-1. Paul's going 1-3-2. And oh, look at this. Here we go again. Pete is also going 1-3-2. All right. Well,
we should have been tracking these, by the way. I haven't paid attention enough to know if the ones we've paired up on have been successful or garbage.
I've kept track. Do you want to actually know?
Oh, you do? You have?
I actually have, yeah. You guys were right on the San Nita going forward.
Yeah, yep.
You were correct on that. The others you were not. Just so far, but we'll see. It's early. Number 1, Chaston for Cox and Drew, 4-1. Guys, I'm also going to try to show some replays. I have Twin Spires up and ready to go. As far as I know, we can show replays with them. I'm going to do my best, guys. It's more clicking and whatnot. I can't directly click. I got to go to a website, but I'm going to try to show some replays if possible. You guys are both going with the number 1, the Cox Drew. This is Godolphin, I believe, also, right? Chaston.
Juddmonte.
Sorry. Okay, coming off a maiden win, Juddmonte, excuse me. Come off a maiden win with a 6-8 buyer. It was a 7 furlong race. Paul, I'm going to go to you first. What do you like about this Into Mischief filly?
Well, Pete's going to be proud of me because he probably has these stats too, but I do have a stat, Pete, on this horse. Brad Cox off a maiden win, second time starter on dirt, going sprint to route. You got all that?
Yeah, I got it.
27%.
Wow.
This is just such a logical high percentage move for Brad.
Yeah.
Fact that he started this filly at 7 furlongs is kind of a hint right there that, you know, he was going to be looking to go longer. So I just think plenty of room to advance off that 68. That was a good effort. You know, she was bet. She wasn't bet off the board, but she was bet. She a little bit of trouble. And Giroux is actually on fire at Fairgrounds. There's some breaking news. So, and last but not least, the 1 in this configuration I think is pretty good because the turn comes up pretty quickly.
Pete, would you like to add to that?
You want to laugh. It's funny. So I was looking to see how she would perform on a stretch out, and I'm like, wow, on the dam side, dirt routes, she's 8 for 12 wins and 12 for 12 in the money. I'm like, that's awesome. Let me see what that is. And she's a half sister to Idiomatic, and all of them were Idiomatic. So I was like, oh, well, that makes a little bit of sense. But at least I don't mind having that in the bloodlines, having a horse like that. That if she could run anywhere like Idiomatic, I think we'd be in pretty good shape. Yeah, and you
Well,
can
the
see on
dam
the
almost
screen.
won 500,000 too. The dam was no slouch.
Yeah, I mean,
Lockdown.
look at that. Third in the Oaks, second in the Gazelle, second in the
Yeah.
Mother Goose, the Cotillion. I mean, grade one. So, yeah, the siblings, it was only those two, I think, and one more, maybe, that hasn't
One
run.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if she's anything, if she's anything there, and Idiomatic, if you look, didn't start out guns blazing like with, super high buyers or anything. So she worked up to being great. But I think this one, just on, connection alone and talent, everything that Paul said. Plus, she came from off the pace, which we like sometimes on a first-time starter. We sometimes get fooled by the ones that just go to the lead easily. You don't know how they would do under different circumstances.
I have no problem with the one. I'm going to use her, obviously. I think she's going to be overbet, though, guys, to be very honest, based on connections and a lot of other things. She won last time. She didn't break great, and she came from pretty far back, which I got to give her credit for. I don't know how good this field is. I think she's going to be overbet. I'm going to use her. I have no problem. I have no problem with your pick, guys. I'm going to go a different direction. But Chaston is definitely going to be a major factor in this race. Simply joking. Here's my thought. First of all, Whitworth Beckman, they interviewed him. He thinks this daughter of Practical Joke can get all the way up to a mile and eighth. I mean, he's just speculating. The dam imply was, certainly was a two-turn horse for the most part. Nothing like spectacular, but she won 772,000. Drum roll, please. How about that, guys? Have to drum roll, please. Or else a lot of people know who's on the Derby Trail this year, I suppose you could make last year, excuse me. So
yeah,
I
third
think
to Dornoch and Sierra Leone and the Remsen is pretty good.
Yeah, I think this horse can get distance. Now, I'm not going to show the replay for this one, but the replay is worth watching for Simply Joking. She didn't break great, and boy, guys, she was pulling. She wanted to go for sure, and she rated kindly in behind. I know she only won by a neck, but she won that race in 110 and won. It came back a fast race with an 84 buyer. Now she's got she has two work since, which I like. I want this horse. I want Torres to be aggressive here. I don't see a lot of early speed. I really would like to see Simply Joking just send and see if she can get the distance. I don't want her messing around and behind. I know she can do it, but based on the speed situation here, guys, I don't think there's a lot of it. I don't think the one is going to gun from the inside. I think the one is simply just going to break out of there. They've got the 7 on the lead. That would be fine. I think the 7 is a very unlikely winner. And I would like to see the 3 be aggressive here. If the 7 wants to go, she's a Swede. Again, that would be fine with me. I think the 3 is versatile. I think I might get an okay price on Simply Joking. So Simply Joking, no laughing matter to me, ladies and gentlemen. That's where I'm going.
You want to laugh, Howard. I didn't realize that I didn't pick the 3 until you put the banner up. When I was looking at it right before we started, I was like, "Oh yeah, the 3. That's my choice." And then I think I had the 1 and the 3, basically sort of 50-50. So
Okay.
I did have one, which I know you like, the second time starter ones. 1 for 14 with Beckman going route to. Or wait, did I do that backwards maybe? I wonder if I got that stat backwards. I wrote route to sprint instead of, I wonder if I switched it. Never mind then. But he second time starters, non-graded stakes. He's only done it once and he won. So that's not bad. And I did like the debut. He had the best debut buyer, the best debut time form in the race. So that's good. Yeah. And I think the works were pretty solid. And I think he started her in a stakes. That's always that's always a nice confidence. You figure there's some confidence in the horse if you do that.
Yeah, I didn't even say that was a stake race. That's a host fail on my part. Guys, between Golden Gamble and the number 6, Gowell's Delight, I prefer Gowell's Delight. You guys prefer Golden Gamble. Apparently, only one of them is going to run. Paul, quickly on Golden Gamble, then I'll talk about Gowell's Delight, the 6.
Yeah, I had her more kind of as a on the board type horse. Pretty consistent. The she's settled into that mid-70s speed figure. It's going to be interesting to see what this race comes back. I'm pretty sure, Howard, you should get a good look at these horses because you're not going to see them in person on the first Friday in May. So you might want to get a good look at them today.
Yikes.
But
well, the Thrill Philly crop is loaded right now. Woo.
Yeah, well, again, and part of my reasoning, look, if the 3's going to advance off an 84, then maybe you will see her in Louisville. But that was part of my thinking, that I think it's more likely that she comes down a few knocks, and I just thought the 2 was consistent enough to be on the board. I think she rather is more of a board than win candidate.
Yeah, by Laubon, but not a New York bred. Interesting, by the way.
Well, remember, before his ill-fated Laubon, they had moved him to Kentucky his last season.
Yeah. Beat absolutely no one, 2 back, and I thought ran a worse than look second last time. I'm against this horse. I guess if McPeak decides to run her instead of the 6, I guess I would upgrade. I could live with 1-3 if the 6 is not in there, guys, personally. But I do want to mention the 6, and then we'll move on. Gallows Delight, I don't know if you guys watched the replay. Debuted at 14-1 for 2 reasons. I think one is McPeak, he's fine first out, but he's nothing special. But first out 2 turns is not easy. This horse rolled. I mean, this horse, I don't know who she beat, but boy, she just sat in behind, came 3 wide, and completely blew by the field. And I thought she looked really good doing it, guys. I don't mind the breeding here at all. It's a little quick back for me. This is another Fern Circle stable, by the way. That's why he's probably only going to run one of the 2. Same ownership group here, the 2 and the 6. If they decide to run the 6 here, Gowls Delight, instead of the 2, that tells me this 6 is very, very live, guys. I'm interested. She's got 2-turn experience. I don't think there's anyone here to be really scared of. I like Gowls Delight more than the 2 with the upside, but of course we got to see who gets in the race beat.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, actually. I was actually, before the race, I was a little bit leaning 6 over the 2 myself because I was looking at my notes again. And I think the thing that if I looked at the breeding on its face, I thought it was a little sprinty. But then I was like, but she debuted at 1 mile and a 16th and rolled. So, and the dam side has been successful. I think it was 20-something% routing. So if I look at it, I'm thinking, oh, well, then maybe the mile 70, I should say here, but the 1 mile and a 16th, mile 70 is at least within her sights, which we see. Yeah, there you go there. So maybe, and actually she's not good dirt sprinting on the dam side, which again is usually a positive for routing. So I think that one's dangerous for sure.
Paul, final thought, we're going to move on. How much do you think trainer intent matters? I mean, if the 2 runs out of the 6 or vice versa, does that mean he likes both, but he's going to save one for another spot? Or do you think that might mean he sort of I should say dislike, but maybe one is not good enough for the spot? How would you read that? Or we shouldn't even speculate, really.
I think it matters a little less at this time of year, Howard. Obviously these horses are all ostensibly on the Oaks Trail. So if, what they're doing in January, there's still a lot of time and a lot of races. I think it would matter more if we were somewhere in the first week of March. So we'll see what Kenny does. Kenny, we know, is not afraid to run in aggressive spots. That's one of the reasons his percentage isn't as high as some others. So
we should say Eclipse.
What I think is good
trainer, by the way, Paul.
Yes, similar ownership, and they're not coupled. What a great idea! Whoever advocated for that. Oh my God!
Here we go. Now,
early rant.
Maybe some of these horses have OFS, Paul. Oaks fever syndrome. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well,
right?
Yeah. Again, and I shouldn't poo-poo that 84 of simply joking, like I say, but I would just say at this point, I don't think Immersive is going to be cowering in her stall. Oh no, she missed it anyway.
She's out. Well,
she may be. Yeah. That's
good cheer. I mean, you can name a whole bunch of other ones.
Oh no, you're right. It's on paper right now. It's a very good crop.
Yeah,
you are correct.
Now that we're into the show a little bit, I want to mention something from Brad Anderson, and I'm going to toot our own horn just a little bit here. The Power Picks, our Power Picks tip sheet, have been rocking in the new year. Let's keep it rolling at Fairgrounds, guys. Got a little stats for people that are belong to the Power Pick tip sheet. And if you don't, why not? Gentlemen, first few weeks, how about an ROI of $4.59 in 2025 for the Power Pick tip sheet? Spot plays, price plays, ABC grids. We've hit pick fours, guys. We've hit pick fives. The overall ROI is still very good at 220 with the average nationally of $1.60. But this year we have been absolutely en fuego, and hopefully we're going to continue. Please look into it. Patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast. Look below the video player on YouTube once the show is over in the information area, the description below for our Power Pick tip sheet. You can buy monthly or yearly, and yearly is clearly the best deal because you get 1 month free. I know Brad Anderson was fortunate enough to cash along with a lot of other people last week with both of our plays of the week, actually, which was pretty awesome. All right, at each particular track. Let's move on, guys. I want to put the border up. Okay, here we go. Next race, picks. Here we go. Picks and screen and boom. The Colonel E.R. Bradley, gentlemen, $100,000 on the turf, which I am going to guess is going to be on the softer side, but I'd be a bit surprised if they didn't run this race on the turf. We're going to handicap it for the turf. It's race 10. It's a mile and 16th, 4-year-olds and up. There's the field, big field. As of right now, there's a field of 14. None of them are MTOs. However, I do have some information. Let's bring you guys on the screen for our viewers and listeners. Again, according to Marcus Hirsch, hold on one second. We have, let's see, in the Colonel Bradley, Northern Invader, the one is only going to run if it's on turf. Again, I'm assuming it will be, but the one will be scratched if it is switched to dirt. And Gigante, the number 7, who I think is a very, I have the wrong, sorry, I meant, there we go. There's our picks on the bottom of the screen. I apologize. Picks are now on the bottom of the screen. Gigante, the 7, who we all like actually very much. Actually, we all have Gigante, is going to run either way on the turf or the dirt. I'm assuming we would prefer this to be on the turf like everyone else. Pete, Gigante has been Gigante lately and is really getting good right now. The number 7, 7-2 for Steve Asmussen, who, shocker, can train a turf horse too. See Cogburn in the dictionary.
Yeah, you know what's funny though, my note, my notes were pretty obvious in terms of this horse has been running against quality horses and generally runs his race. So he puts himself, he's tactical enough where he could sit. He's got races where he could sit second, third, fourth. So he puts himself there. According to time form, it looks like there should be some pace here. So I think that Jose can sort of sit right off with Gigante. The only thing is the last note on the last line of my notes was seems to run best on firm turf. So I was leaning towards, if it was firm turf, I really like Gigante because that's when he seems to do his best running. So if it does come up a little bit soft and he does take a bunch of money, maybe that's a reason you can try and go against him. But for now, I'm going to stick with him on top. I just think form, results, class, I think, and he still seems to be, even going into the end of his 4-year-old season, he still seemed to be getting a little bit incrementally better. So if he can kind of keep that level or even get up a little bit from that, I think he's definitely near the top of this field.
What I like about him, a lot of things. He looks like he's becoming more tactical, Pete. He used to be sort of a dead closer. Now they've got him more tactical as he gets older. Jose Ortiz is 30% right now. I thought he ran okay on soft turf in December, in the, what it was in the fairgrounds, grade 3, when he lost to Beatbox. And so my students would
He's not terrible on it. He
my
just
students would laugh at that.
Yeah, let's not
I think
do
we
that
just lost
anymore.
3 viewers. But anyway, I think he's probably better on firm, but it's not going to be firm. They might list it at firm, but it's
well,
not
that's the thing. I thought, so I think he might not be at his best. So if he does take a bunch of money, then maybe this is a pretty big field. I thought it was wide open otherwise. So I think if you want to try it, or even if you're trying to get him to hit the board and you try and get a bomb on top or something.
I have nothing to add. Any quick adds for Gigante, Paul? I think he got a really good trip last time. I thought he won easier than the one length. This is a better field, though.
I agree with both of those things. and I thought he lost to a pretty good horse too back in Battle of Normandy at
Who will be in the
Churchill.
Pegasus,
So
by the way, for West
I
Point Thoroughbreds.
yes, we're very good. Yeah, and I thought Northern Invader was kind of logical here as well. And if you go down the PPs, beat Northern Invader back to back. Yeah, as both of you guys have put it, I just think he's in good form, and the horse is kind of a win machine with 7 out of 18. That's a very good win percentage. So no doubt about him being able to put wins back to back.
Uh-oh. Now, I know you guys jokingly say I don't like the Italians. I think I just got in trouble with our Latin American friends or people who speak Spanish, which actually I do speak some Spanish. Apparently it's Igante. The G might be silent. I've heard the G be pronounced. I guess it depends on who's announcing. But appreciate the pronunciation advice there, Ed Morales. Guys, let's talk about the 9. The 9 I have in second. And Pete, so do you. Interesting. What say thee? I'll tell you what say thee. I think this horse is getting better. And Michael Maker tends to do that. Usually when they get older, I'm start becoming a bit negative of these horses. But clearly Michael Maker's figured out something because this horse is starting to get really good right now. A little bit of a layoff. I'm not too concerned. If it comes up softer, I don't know. However, he did run yielding and did pretty well at Saratoga. And this is an Irish spread to see the stars. The dam side, maybe not wanting softer turf, but the male side, I think he would handle softer turf. I'm intrigued, Pete, as are you, with the number 9, What Say Thee?
Yeah, I like this horse. There was a few things. Again, you said it at 7. It's surprising when it happens, but this horse had a lifetime buyer top and a lifetime time form top in his last race at 6. So that's not always something you see with an older horse, but
Gigante. How'd I do that? Gigante.
Yes. It's definitely encouraging. And then since the claim way back in December of 23, he's had 3 losses. One of them, he had no room. He was just sort of boxed in. One was going 1.25 miles, which I think was maybe just a little too far. He was up close to it. And the other one's at Kentucky Downs, which Kentucky Downs we know is a crapshoot, so you can generally sometimes throw those races out. Other than that, this horse has just been winning. And Maker, 5 for 12 wins, 9 for 12 in the money on the turf at Fairgrounds in the past month. So he's been on fire on the turf. I think this horse. I think that price is probably going to stick to because you don't. The class isn't the best. I think this horse is moving up just a touch, but so I think we can get that price too, which I find encouraging in a field like this that I think's wide open.
Guys, I've made a mental note to myself to try to bring more people in the chat because we love our viewers, and I'm going to make sure the show doesn't go any longer. But Ed Burke wants to thank me for a Tampa bet. Love the 12. I had the 8. He played a nice double, turned that into 400. And I don't want to get involved in your possible rant. And just for people to know, I never know what Paul's going to rant about. But Ed Burke, if Irad wasn't a moron, it would have had I think he means $2,000 pick 4. Any 5-second snapshot thoughts, Paul?
Well, he wasn't the only moron in that.
All right. Do
So.
you want to talk? Do you want to talk about Northern Invader or the 11 or both very quickly, Paul Halloran?
I think Northern Invader is positioned well. I think Louis will be aggressive. I think Cherie is okay coming off the left. This horse ran okay last year. Didn't run great, but is a pretty consistent horse. I just think he is definitely, well, it's a gelding. It's kind of in between. I think he is definitely at minimum a board candidate. This is a West Point horse that also owned by David and Gordo, also known as Mr. Cherie DeVoe. I don't love the horse, but I like his chances in this spot.
I agree. I have no intel, by the way, even though I have a little bit of West Point connection now. I have no intel on this horse. I just think any horse that's newly gelded and they've given this time to develop just might be a little better than it looks on paper. And then Wadsworth, the 11. We'll move on here. A Godolphin horse. You know, I don't know, Paul. I don't think he's riding back into form. Maybe he's lost a step from 4 to 5. He had that, or from 3 to 4. We had that long break. I'm not aware of what happened there. I'm sure something happened. He just doesn't quite seem as fast as he used to be.
Yeah. Well, again, this is more of a board play for me, but and will be over bet and is not a tremendous post. But you know, it is Brad, it is Giroux. You know, I wouldn't be shocked. This is like a B type horse for me in the grid. I don't want to go all the way down to a C. Won't be an A, but the horse was really dropped off, and I really can't believe he's still running. Is City Man right next door? This horse has been a really, really good $1.3 million New York bred in the hands of Clement, and just kind of assumed the horse was retired. So I don't know if it was a private sale or whatever is now at Rob Atras, but you know, and I know that race last time was a grade 2, but it was not a good effort. And you know, I just hope that this horse doesn't take a real precipitous drop in form, because this has been a very, very good horse over the course of his career.
Well, I don't have a lot of intel, but I do know that the Clements, you're correct. They were going to retire this horse.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the horse is going to be injured. I'm not saying anything nefarious. I just don't, from a betting standpoint, I don't like that at all, Paul. The Clements are not stupid. They think the horse is done. The horse has won 1.3. They think he's done enough. They're ready to retire him. I actually don't love the fact that someone else, I don't know how it happened. I guess maybe I shouldn't be negative about the whole thing. It gives me the heebie-jeebies, Paul. I don't like that vibe at all. Not at all.
Well, and the key, Howard, is 8. You know, it's not like they're going to retire him at 4 or 5, and now he's a 6-year-old. He's 8.
No.
I don't. You know, 12 to 1 in the morning line. You know, the horse will take some play, because if you look at the sheet, you know, he's on the board virtually every time. But boy, I got to tell you, and I've covered this horse in several of those stakes races in New York. I really like this horse a lot. I want no part of this horse in this race.
No, I'm not using him at all. All right, guys, let's move on. Pete, did you want to?
Oh no, I was going to say, can I throw one
Please.
interesting stat on Wadsworth, to go back to Wadsworth real quick, because I think that horse will take potentially some money. Brad Cox, this surprised me. 1 for 20, and 1 for 20 on the win end, 10 for 20 in the money in non-graded stakes races on turf at Fairground in the past few years. Anytime you see a Cox have such a bad, and it's not that small of a sample size, so anytime you see him, you know, those kind of trainers with a really bad stat, it usually throws me a bit. So I just wanted to mention that one for the listeners.
I'm glad you did. Very good. Let's go on to race 11. Guys, in a weird way, I sort of think this is the race of the day. I know it's the Lecomte, but this Louisiana Stakes for older males, I thought came up pretty salty, actually, for this type of field. There's our picks on the bottom of the screen. Let me go ahead and show right now what we got here. This is a $175,000 mile of 16th. Again, this is a series of 3. Again, this is day 1 of 3 cars they're going to have, guys. That the races are just going to get bigger and better, and the purses leading up to Louisiana Derby day, where you have like the Munez and a lot, you know, on the turf, and you have a really nice fairgrounds handicap for these type of horses. This is a big field of 10. With the morning line favor, the number 1 Hit Show. This is a horse that I know very, very well, and I have a very strong opinion on this horse in this race, and I hope I'm correct about it. He is 5-2 in the morning line. This is a big field. I'm going 5-9-2. Paul's going 10-5-1, and Pete is also going to go with me, my friend. He's going 5-1-4. Paul, I'll let you go first. Maycox Bay from Michael Stidham, who I got to tell you guys, I say all the time on the show, is an excellent trainer. Excellent trainer. 10-1 morning line. Ben Curtis, jock that came over from Europe last year and did quite well. A lot of dirt experience. Tough post, Paul, but he's young. He's improving. And if he can somehow get over from the outside, I don't think he's impossible. He's intriguing. So explain to everyone what you like about Maycox Bay, the 10.
Well, I feel better about the pick already after the endorsement from my favorite uncle. That was very nice.
Semi-endorsement. I'm just trying to be enthusiastic for you.
Don't be a dick about it. I'm trying to compliment you. Jesus.
I like him. I like him, just not as much.
Well,
as you
no,
do.
I'm going to tell you why I
it's
like
freaking
him.
Godolphin, Pete.
That's what I was going to say. It's
the
a Godolphin horse. Let's not act like he's
I
going
just
out on a
picked a
limb
Godolphin
here.
horse
He's not the
third,
number
okay?
5. Just kidding, Paul. Go ahead.
No, I think what I think is, despite the way this horse won his last 2 races, I don't think he has to be on the lead. I don't think he will be on the lead from out there. And based on the pace scenario, I do think he can win this race from behind. You know, I'm not talking back of the pack, but
Sure.
if Big Ben can work out a trip from out there and get him, mid-packish, I think he can win from there. I think his numbers fit. As you point out, Howard, the post position is a concern, as is the field. I think Hit Show is going to be way over bet, so I was looking to beat him. And yes, so I would say if I could get 10-1 on this Team Blue, I would be all over him. I think he's got a, way better than a 10-1 chance. How's that?
Pete, I think it's the first time Paul called me a male anatomy in our show history.
I like that. He was
I
fired
sorry,
up.
I meant.
I just tried to have a little fun. He had to go blue on us.
I meant Richard, Pete. I meant Richard. I'm sorry.
He didn't say you were one. He just said don't be one, if I remember the
Correct.
quote correctly. So that's a little bit different.
Correct. Thank you, Pete.
All right.
Anytime.
Paul, this scenario would not be good, correct? This looks like he'd be 4 wide. And no
I'm pointing on my screen, which I know helps everyone at home. I'd be more interested in where the 9 is in that scenario.
Yes, and he certainly could. This is just their projection.
Agreed.
That was the only reason why I left that one off. Sort of the top couple was because I wanted to take a shot at 10, but I was like, between the post, the class jump, and the fact that I think there's enough speed inside that even if he tries to get close, he still might be sitting on a decently quick base.
Yeah.
That was just all a lot to put on 10-1. That's why you're getting the 10-1.
No doubt. I'm using him defensively. I like the horse. I don't love the spot, to be very honest, but I do like the horse. And you figure also that was his first off a big layoff fall too. So you figure he's going to improve. I mean, a mid-90s wins this race, right? So, I mean, he's still going to have to work out a trip and class up, but that exactly, Pete. You hit the nail on the head. That's why you're getting 10-1. I like the pick, Paul. Good luck with Maycox Bay. Pete, I am a little surprised. I'm surprised myself by picking this horse. Skinner. I'll let you talk about Skinner. This obviously was a horse that was on the West Coast base with John Sheriffs. It won the last race in the Native Diver. Beat the Great Miramati, which I'm if Jackson Munez or Ryan Anderson's on, they're chuckling a little bit, as well as Noah Maher. Although Miramati just won again, 2 weeks ago or last week or whatever it was. Now Cherie DeVoe. Pete, Skinner 9-2. Interesting.
I have to say, when I looked back at the best bets, I almost put Skinner as my best bet just on the win end, especially because I like the odds. I don't think he'll take as much money as Hit Show, so I think that's
an interesting thought.
Did you do that? Is that what you did?
We'll find out later.
Again, I looked at my bets and I was like, did I put him as my best bet? I did single him in a double to foreshadow our plays later. But yeah, I think you said everything. The one thing I liked, and it's sort of a guess more than anything, he had the year off. So if you could see 3 back, he was in the Native Diver, ran second, then takes a year, basically he was off for almost a year, comes back, runs second going 6.5, which isn't his game by any stretch, but still runs well enough, I think. Then goes back in the Native Diver. I thought was pretty impressive in that race.
This is red flag is pretty sharp right now, by the way.
And red flag. There's nothing wrong with red flag, and I think it was against a horse who's better sprinting, and that's not Skinner's game. And then, what if this horse is just getting better? And that was my thing. And I like the move to DeVoe. Nothing against John Sheriffs, but I just really like Cherie DeVoe better. And if this horse is just getting better and is sort of tapping into some talent that we've seen sort of spotty, it's not always consistent. But if he could tap into that, and then if there's some pace in here, which it looks like, at least from a time form standpoint, I think this sets up perfect for this horse. And like I said, if he moves forward, I think he's just the best horse in this field. And if that shows up, then I think you're getting a nice price at it. Because I don't think the rest of the field, I think it's a really good field, but there's not anybody that you're scared of in this field, really. I think it's solid. It's sort of evenly matched generically, but I think Skinner at his best, if he moves forward, I think he might just be better. And I really like him a lot.
Paul's got him second. He's the sire is Curline. Curlin.
Oh,
yeah. Here's my thought. I'm not going to expound too much. I agree with everything you said, Pete. I think he's going to get a great trip. Obviously, I don't mind the Sri DeVoe trainer change at all. In fact, you could argue it's an upgrade, all due respect to John Sheriffs. At this point of their careers is all I'm saying. Obviously, Sheriffs is a master horseman, but, at this point of their careers. Should set a great trip. I think we'll be 4-1-ish. And this horse, by the way, was nominated or invited to go to the Pegasus. And they said no, which I love. Now, people might say, well, Howard, if he's that good, then why do you like Skinner? Because he's not good enough to. The Pegasus is not a good spot for him. This is a great spot for him to get his East Coast sort of campaign started. So I don't mind that at all. This is very smart by the ownership not to get sucked into the nonsense with the Pegasus and get over his head. I just like this horse a lot. Paul, you don't disagree. You've got him second. So we all like Skinner in this spot.
Loved him last time, and as I recall, wasn't there a heavy favorite Baffert horse in that race last time?
Here's no at the poo-poo, just like you were saying, Paul. No, Mar, wasn't last time the time to have Skinner? It's a fair question. Miramati got a bad ride. The other Baffert didn't lift a hoof. I agree, but he still got a 95. I mean, the number is the number. No, I don't disagree with you. That's why I sort of surprised myself picking this horse, because I hear what you're saying, Noah, and I can't push back. I don't know. There's external things that I like, things that I just mentioned. The trainer change, not going to the Pegasus, blah blah blah. I've got the 9 guys. It wasn't
like he did it at 20-1 last time.
Right.
I mean, it's not like he was a total out of the blue winner. So I don't look at it as that much there, because he was what, 3-1, 7-2, basically.
The number 9, Corambino Almeida, who I bet at the Charlestown Classic at 20-1 and got that horse in third in reverse strikey, because I'm a sicko and remember things like that, even though I don't remember who I met yesterday at school, some adult. Look at the ownership, by the way. Perry Martin. Anyone that name ring a bell of California Chrome?
Chrome.
Yes. I don't know if this horse wants the distance, but his numbers are really good. I'm concerned about him being wide, guys, just like the 10 and that kind of trip. If he trips out, I see no reason why this 9 can't win at all. I mean, I think he's pretty good. So I like Corambino Almeida just a bit. You guys have the 1. Let's talk about the 1, and then we're going to move on to the Lecomte, because we got to get into that race. Let's talk about the 1. Paul, I'll let you do that, or Pete, either one. You guys can. Oh, we got to talk about the 1. I'll let you guys talk first, but I need to 1 minute to talk about Hit Show. Go ahead, guys.
I mean, to me, I don't know what you think, Paul. I just think Hit Show's he's just a pretty good horse. I mean, I don't think it's saying much. I don't have to go overly handicappy here and say I think this horse, he's just solid. And ever since, I mean, he had one bad race in the past, in 2024, basically. He had one clunker. He wasn't good last out by any stretch, but I mean, it wasn't disastrous. He wasn't good. I thought he could maybe sit a decent pace if the pace gets out, if the pace heats up and he can sort of just sit in sort of that third, fourth spot right behind the pace and can work out a trip where he can either come through on the rail or sort of tip his way out. I just think he gets a solid trip, and I think he's good enough to run and hit the board. I just don't know if he always leaves me wanting a little bit more. He's never as good as you want him to be, and I think he takes money like he's better than he is, unfortunately, and the connections, Cox doesn't hurt. Although Cox Giroux, which is this stat, some of these stats make no sense. It was just a crazy one. The Cox Giroux combo, switching on Lasix, this is so stupid, with a horse that was in the money last time in dirt routes. 44% wins, 84% of the money. It was such a stupid stat, but I was like, it intrigued me. I'll put it in the notes.
Guys, here's my opinion. I have to talk about this horse, then we're gonna move on. I am completely 100% against Hit Show in this race. If he wins, I will be very wrong. I'll just put it that. Some horses, you don't have a good gauge on, gentlemen, in your betting career. Some you do. I have a very good gauge on this horse. I've had him a bunch of times lately. I didn't love him in the Clark. I hate him here. And I'm just going to be very brief why. Number one, he's going to take a lot of money. He's going to be 9-5. Number two, guys, I don't think he wants a mile of 16th. He's a very grindy. He doesn't accelerate. I also don't think he wants the rail. I think he could get in trouble down there. And he got totally outworked by Patch Adams in their last work. Now, I know Patch Adams is a younger 3-year-old and precocious and blah, blah, blah. If you watch the work, I don't like what I saw from Hit Show. I'm completely against him. I might use him as a C, guys. I think it's why I like the other horses, because you're going to get better prices. If Hit Show wins, I'm going to be completely wrong. I don't like him at all. That's just my feeling in this spot.
Fair
Not
enough.
At all. So
Fair
that's
enough.
my opinion there, guys. All right, guys, let's get on to what most people would say is the feature. We got about 10 minutes, and then we got to hear his rant, and then we got to take our little respite to get on to great race plays. So let's just get on to it. The Lecomte, grade 3 is the first. They had the Gun Runner, which was won by Bilt, who's in this race, but this is sort of the first bigger point race in New Orleans for the Fairgrounds Road to the Kentucky Derby. Now, Pete, I have 11-13 blank because whether you know it or not, the number 3 Admiral Dennis is going to be out of this race.
I didn't know that.
According to Marcus Hirsch. So,
yes.
And the 14 Seattle Road may be out, but the number 3, who actually I had second, and I have a small future bet on, by the way, for the Derby, Admiral Dennis, they're going to go to an allowance spot on Monday. I think it's at Fairgrounds, but they're going to choose an allowance spot instead, which frankly, I don't love if I like his Derby chances, but okay. So, Pete, in a little bunch of your time, you'll tell us who you like.
You could just put the 1 up there for me.
Okay.
I'll stick the 1 up there. That was my next choice anyway.
So, here we go. I'm going 11-13-10. Paul's going 13-7-4. Pete's going 11-13-1. Pete and I have the same exactly. Actually, Pete and I are the same in 3 of the 4 races at the fairgrounds. So, hopefully, if I have a good day, that means Pete is also going to have a good day. Paul, I'm going to let you go first. This is a very confounding race to me, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen right now. It's a big field. There's not a ton of proven form. There's a lot of horses that want to be forward, not a lot of horses that want to pass. I think it's the favorites on the outside who got a ridiculously good trip last time, although he's very talented, in Bilt, who was the morning favorite for Catalano at 3-1. You've got Disco Time, the 11 at 9-2. There's many, 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 many ways to go here in this field of 13, maybe 12. We'll see. But you are going with a horse that I do like a lot. And I know Noah Maher likes this horse a lot because one of his college professors at UK has a small ownership piece of Bilt. And I was very happy to be down at Keeneland with Noah in the winner's circle with the Eclipse connections and Wayne Catalano when Bilt broke his maiden on October 6th at what we thought was a generous 2-1 because Noah especially loved him a lot. He lost to East Avenue in his debut. The only issue I have is he just got a ridiculous scenario last time, Paul, when Admiral Dennis didn't break at all. He got a very slow pace and an easy lead, but he did it very, very well. And Catalano said he doesn't have to rate. I'm sure that came into your calculation.
Yeah, I don't expect him to win on the lead from out there. But one of the reasons I'd like him, well, a couple of reasons is one is, I just think numbers wise, there's a chance he's better than this field by a decent amount. But I thought that was a good effort at Keeneland, and he only came from second, but it shows that. I think it shows that if he doesn't make the lead out here, which I believe is a probability, that it's not time to panic. So I just got a feel, and frankly, it's the type. Yes, this is the Keeneland race. You can see him coming down the stretch. He's in the lead already, I believe, at this point, Howard, right? Yes.
Yes, beating a pretty good horse. Surrender Judgment's not bad. The
Came
one coming
back
up
to
the
win
inside, I believe.
off that race. He's making up ground on the rail, but this is that's a comfortable win. Oh, geez, we don't get to see the gallop out, Pete. How do we know if the horse is
how are we going to know? I don't know.
We
can't
knew from
even
the
bet
last
the
race,
race now.
guys. We knew from
I
the
can't
last
even
race,
bet
Paul.
the race now.
So, yeah, I do think the horse is, again, at this point in their careers, we're kind of predicting versatility as opposed to being sure of it. But I predict that he's going to be versatile enough. And certainly we don't think the distance is going to be a problem by hard spun out of a curling mare.
You got extra credit from Noah, by the way, Paul. So
thank you, Noah.
Who knows this horse well? We're gonna find out a lot about Built in this race, I think, guys. I've got Built second. Pete, you've got him second. Paul Conlon wants to know if there's a chance of a bounce. First of all, I don't believe in bounces. I think horses naturally yin yang. That's the nature of the game. If he doesn't win this race, it's because he gets a wide post. I don't think it's because of talent, or maybe he just doesn't, can handle a fast pace and rate into a fast pace. There are a lot of question marks here, which I would never put a win bet on this horse, Pete, at 3-1
Correct.
in this situation. But I think not using him at all in a pick 5 or pick 4 is a little silly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't really have anything else to add that Paul didn't mention. And the last race that he won super impressively with a great figure was here at the fairgrounds going this distance. So you have that in the back pocket as well.
Let's talk about our top choice disco time. This is a Juddmonte, Brad Cox, Giroux. Sound interesting? They could have Brad Cox could have a huge day, by the way, this Saturday. Again, Eclipse nominee, by the way, trainer Brad Cox. Disco time. When I saw a disco chick on the dam side, Pete, I was like, I'm not sure this horse wants distance. But in watching his win at Churchill, and he's by Not This Time, who obviously can get distance, I didn't have any impression this horse is a sprinter. He looks like pretty big. He's like pretty broad. He's got a long stride. He wasn't getting tired at all from that mile race. I don't think he's a sprinter. I'm not concerned at all about distance. My concerns with him is similar to a lot, that there could be a hot pace and he's got a wide post. But my gut feel here, Pete, is he is the most talented horse in this race, and it might translate to a win here. But this is a soft pick for me, selfishly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like this horse because I thought the same thing, but the only sibling under Disco Chick, the only sibling, one going long, not in any super impressive races or anything. Yeah, you could see Disco Chick is a sprinter, but the only, Bright Spark, the only one.
Right.
Again, it wasn't in high quality company or anything, but at least the horse showed was a distance horse. I mean, it was a router through and through.
There's the family tree. I don't know if you want anything else you want to.
Yeah, I mean, on the sire side, we know that there's plenty of distance there. So as long as you had enough, and again, it's not like we're going a mile and an eighth, a mile and a quarter here. I think a mile and a 16th will definitely fit for this horse. I mean, he did, like you said, he went a mile and just looked super impressive, and definitely didn't look like the distance, the extra furlong was getting to him then. I don't assume the extra 16th will here. Cox is he's a monster here. He's 33% wins, 61% in the money in these 3-year-old graded stakes races here at fairgrounds. So he's just always super successful here. I think he brings this horse here with the intent, obviously, to win, but also because I think this is a pretty talented horse. And I think you were right, because Built is a little bit compromised post-wise and potentially pace-wise. I think it could work out really nicely for Disco Time, and hopefully Built hopefully he takes the lion's share of the money, although with these connections, I assume Disco Time will take his fair share as well.
I think so. Pete's got Innovator, who's on the rail, who definitely should get a good trip.
I don't have anything. There's nothing special about that. That was more of a hunch play. It was the one who lost by the head to Barnes and ran second and ran first. I feel like could just get on the rail, and it's a $900,000 horse though, which is funny because didn't start out very well and got whooped in the hopeful, but otherwise just likes to finish second. So I was like, at 10-1, there's a lot of seconditis there.
With D. Wayne and the Barnes running line, he's going to take some money. I don't like him at all, but I understand. Really quick, Paul, and then we're going to get to our best bets and your rant. There are a lot of horses I didn't know what to do with. I'm just gonna be honest. Like I could have gone 10,000 ways. I was a little chalky in this race, which I'm not real proud of. But underneath, I'm really interested in some horses and maybe even to upset. I looked at the 7 calling card, 12-1, very carefully, Paul, because I had him in New York 2 starts back when he looked like a world beater. Although it was a very fast pace and it was the New York breds, and there was not much competition, but he did it so damn well. I didn't love his race last time. It was a slow pace, though. The problem, and Sandman's a nice horse for West Point, but he didn't really kick on with it. I don't know if that was because it was his first time like traveling from New York. I didn't know what to make of it. I do like the fact that he's worked well since at the fairgrounds, and I sort of like this pick. I think calling card is not impossible, Paul, if he can bounce back from his last effort. This is a interesting horse and a New York bred, by the way, by complexity. I like this pick for a second. I think he's interesting. Paul, for sure.
Yeah, I do, and I think it's interesting that Frankie lands here. Frankie's desperate for a Derby horse, and obviously, Ron Anderson was burning up the phone lines and got Mike Maker. I just thought that was interesting. I think it's, and you asked about intent. I do think it's a little bit of an aggressive spot, with the New York bred. God, I'd love to see this horse win this race, regardless of whom I bet. But I think that's why clearly that explains the Oaklawn start, right? And clearly, in Maker's mind, he did run at least well enough at Oaklawn to land in this spot, because he clearly could have been. I just said clearly 3 times in 30 seconds, which is very poor.
Yeah,
he could have been.
He could have been
put on a van. He could have been put on a van headed back east very easily after the Oaklawn start. So
I thought you were saying a van down by the river.
No. He's not. He wouldn't have gone to the train station like in Yellowstone. I think this could be a good little price play here, Howard.
By the way, Paul, Mike Maker, 0 for 22 in 3-year-old graded stakes races on the dirt.
Oh, well, that's a good idea.
Well, you said second, though. You had nothing to do with second.
I'm just kidding.
That has nothing to do with second. So he could easily finish second.
Paul, your calling card is my Mo better than good. I just want to mention the 10 just for a minute, guys. And this horse could finish 10th, okay? But I find a lot of things weird about this horse. First of all, New York bred, right, Paul? I thought his debut, which I'm not going to show, was better than it looked. He was stuck down the inside. He angled out. It was not a fast time. But that, guys, was September, okay? What I find interesting for this horse is number one, he can pass horses. At least he's proven he can. And you know what, guys? If this horse wasn't much, or if they had different thoughts, wouldn't they just keep him in New York and run him like an N1X and go along like the New York Derby Trail, or just see what he's got? This is a very, very aggressive spot, guys, isn't it? I mean, he's in New York bred, similar to calling card. They're bringing him down here first off the start from Saratoga. They must think this horse got something, guys. I don't know if more better than good has any shot at all in this race. But if this horse is 35-1 and comes from the clouds and finishes like a great second or third, I would not be shocked at all. I am very, very interested to see how Mo better than good does the number 10 here. Again, it's a guess, but this is a tough spot for this horse, isn't it? I mean, they must like this horse, is my point, guys. I don't know why they'd run him here otherwise. No?
Yeah.
I mean, McPeak with his stream at fairgrounds, they're running this horse too.
There is that syndrome we talk about, Howard.
I understand, but they could do that syndrome in New York, and they're coming all the way down here to fairgrounds.
No,
I don't know.
Yes, they could, but it maybe McPeak, of course, at this time of year has his main strings at Oaklawn and to a lesser degree the fairgrounds. So maybe that's just an indication right there, that the horse isn't running in a A1X at Aqueduct.
I don't know. I think he might have some talent. I don't know. How about that kind of race, isn't it, guys, where you could steal and clock up at a huge price? No.
How about we get a New York bred exactor in this race? Wouldn't that be great?
Wow, that'd be fun.
You got to at least play that for $2, Paul, just in case.
Easy.
It's got to happen. At least.
No brainer, as they say in Gin Rummy.
Yeah.
Paul's best bet is race 10. He's going with the pick 3, 1-7 with 5-10 with 4-7-13. We're not going to talk about it, guys. I'll just read it off again. Race 10 for Paul, last 3 races, 1-7 with 5-10 with 4-7-13. Pete is going to go in race 10. That is also the second-legged pick 4. He's going with an exacta box that is Gigante with What Say Thee, I believe, correct?
Yes.
And a double those two into
Skinner.
Skinner. I like it. Ooh,
yeah.
That could be okay. That could pay nicely.
Yeah.
And you asked what am I doing with the play there? There it is, Pete. I'm going to go Skinner. I like Skinner in this spot. I mean, I can't believe I'm picking him again, because he never wins 2 in a row. But I don't know. I got a feeling. Big exactas 5 with 249. I'm tossing hit show, guys, and then exactas 249 with 5. It is now that time for our weekly feature. Other than, of course, our great handicapping or semi-good handicapping, it's Paul's Rant of the Week. Paul, floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to really get into specifics, Howard, because we don't have the time. I just want to say that I think as horse players, I think we have a choice to look at the glass half full or half empty. And certainly we have our share of days where it looks like there's only a few drops in it. But look, we make fun of the fact that I'm old, and I am old. But, God willing, I'll be around for a few more races. And, horse racing isn't going anywhere, okay? Naira and Kentucky are not going anywhere. Now, it is much better off with robust racing in California, in Southern Florida, in Central Florida. I get it. Okay. And I hope that continues. But I would just caution people not to, read the news of the day and go into Dr. Doom mode and think that, come next year, we're not going to have horse racing. We're going to have horse racing. Okay. So if the good Lord gives me 10 more years, see me in the Jim Dandy bar at Saratoga and I'll buy you a drink, because it's still going to be there. They're still going to be running. Or see Howard at Churchill, whether it's Oaks Day or Derby Day or Clark Day or any other day. So, again, it's easy to read the negative, and I'm not trying to make light of it. It is concerning. But let's keep the big picture in mind. The sport we love is not going anywhere.
And full disclosure, you're not that old, Paul. You want to disclose your actual age? You're not that old.
Yeah, I'm. Let's see, Roger Maris.
Okay, early 60s, guys. He's not 82 or something. Not that 82 is old either.
No, I just look it.
Well, I don't agree with that either. I'll tell you what, you are the Pete Carroll of horse racing handicapping, because you got the energy most of the time much better than myself and Pete, I think. So
you don't look a day over 60 and a half, Paul.
There you go, Pete.
I would agree. Paul, by the way, I agree. Look, maybe some jurisdictions won't be around as long as we want, but the sport is not going anywhere. It would have to reinvent itself. And the converse is Maryland just was taken over by a new company and looks as though that's on the up and up with a new Pimlico that's going to be built. And it's so, again, I agree with you 100%. Pete, is that your final thought of the night, Pete?
I like Laurel better. I wish they were.
Well,
I wish everything switched to Laurel. It's closer to my house.
Any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. I think, I agree with Paul, though. Horse racing X or horse racing Twitter, whatever we like to call it, is very doom and gloom about every single thing going on. So I think, unfortunately, that permeates through the horse racing fan base sometimes.
It does. Well, we're all sunshine and rainbows here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Please check us out in 20 minutes, 9:30 Eastern, for great race plays and a really good late. I know we got to be quick, Paul. Great late pick 4 this Sunday at Santa Anita. But for now, crush your bets at the fairgrounds this Saturday. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Victory to the lawyer! What strike does it?
Savage. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.